Hi, in this video we're going to go over neurolinguistics from a neuroscience perspective, so what to study and to expect. I'm going to get the pointer here, it's easier to see. So we're going to go over what the neuro part of neurolinguistics is. Say you're studying neuroscience, you want to know, well, what am I going to be familiar with? So neurolinguistics uses a lot of the tools of study of neuroscience. Neuroscience is fairly interdisciplinary, so we use lots of different things. But for example, we can use fMRIs, we can use eye trackers, we can use something as simple as surveys, all sorts of tools in order to be able to study a language. The emphasis of neurolinguistics is on the brain, or the nervous system and how it relates to language. So we'll use things that allow us to visualize nerves, the brain, etc., etc., etc. Also the models, we like to create models in neurolinguistics that show how information is being processed in the brain. So we like to check, which neurons are connecting where and which areas of the brain metabolize more under which circumstances and things like that. So our models are brain models. When we take our data and we try to turn it into a model, it's a model of how the brain works. The community is very neuroscience-y, if that's a word. So we share work with other neuroscientists and has applications for things that are not necessarily linguistic in nature. So the applications of our research. Here's the next one, for example, medical applications. So in other linguistic fields, we might not, come up with something in linguistics that will help treat a disease. In neurolinguistics, we do. So we might be able to treat certain types of aphasia better if we understand them from a neuroscientific perspective. And so what is the linguistics part? So the theory is linguistics. You have to understand linguistic theory. That's not to say that there aren't neuroscience components. These categories, obviously there's some crossover, but you have to understand linguistic theory, which means some stuff that doesn't involve looking at MRIs. You have to understand grammar and how it works. Some of the tools we will use just some more generic linguistic tools. There will be some computational linguistics that goes on with neurolinguistics. Sometimes there are surveys and things like that, although used in neuroscience, can also be used in linguistics even when we're not looking at the brain. Terminology, we use a lot of linguistic terminology and a lot of previously done work in linguistics. So in linguistics, we haven't always had the advanced neuroscientific tools that we have now, but we've still done linguistics, and so we reference some of the work that doesn't image the brain or work with neuroscientific models of the brain very much, but is still valuable. So you'll have to be familiar with terminology in previous work and sort of the theory and ideas of linguistics in general as well. And what to expect to study. So you'll need to study things that aren't normal things that you would think of studying in neuroscience. So morphology, which in anatomy means sort of the shapes of body parts, but in linguistics means the derivations and inflections of words, so the forms and changes of words. Syntax, so the ordering of words. A lot of times people think of this as being more than grammar. Phonology, the sound systems of words, and phonetics, also just the sounds of words themselves, not necessarily the systems. Semantics, the study of meaning, and other fields as well, for example, discourse analysis, looking at large chunks of text, things that don't necessarily easily fit into neuroscience, you'll have to study in order to be proficient with neurolinguistics. And that's really all for this introduction to neurolinguistics. But I hope it's been helpful.